All right, let's talk about why most teams are set up to fail before they even start. And no, it's not because they lack talent or motivation. It's because nobody bothered to properly scope what success actually requires. I see this disaster unfold constantly. Some executive gets excited about an initiative, waves their hands at the team, and assumes everything will magically work out. It's like asking someone to build you a house, but forgetting to mention whether you wanted a cottage or a mansion, and then acting all surprised when the foundation isn't big enough. So let me paint you a picture of how this typically goes down. Executive walks into planning with a brilliant idea. We need to build a customer portal by Q3. Everyone nods enthusiastically, and someone volunteers their team. Dates get set, and there's high fives all around. But nobody asks the crucial questions. How big is this thing, really? Which specific roles do we need? What are we assuming about availability? What dependencies could mess us up? And then fast forward 6 weeks, the project's already behind. The front-end engineer is split across 3 initiatives, QA wasn't looped in until the end, the designer just went on maternity leave, and suddenly everyone's pointing fingers about why this simple project became a nightmare. This happens because we confuse team assignment with team scoping. Assignment is easy. Engineering will handle it. Scoping is harder. We need 1.5 front-end engineers, we need 0.8 back-end engineers, we need 0.3 product managers, and 40 hours of UX work spread across 8 weeks. Even experienced project managers fall into this trap. And why? Well, because proper scoping feels like overhead when you're eager to start building. It's easier to say, we'll figure it out as we go, than to think through the dependencies and constraints up front. But here's what I've learned the hard way. The pain of scoping up front is nothing compared to the pain of rescoping midway through a failing project. When teams aren't properly scoped, dependencies get missed. You'll discover in week 4 that you need legal review, but legal's booked solid for 2 months. Skill gaps surface late. It turns out nobody actually knows how to build that straightforward integration. And load becomes invisible. People are overcommitted across multiple projects with no shared view of the collision. All right, so enough complaining. Here is exactly how to fix this. Step 1. Pull this up here. Where are we here? Use a simple effort scoping template. Stop treating every initiative like it's a mysterious black box. Create a standardized way to size work before it starts. And use something as simple as possible. Small, medium, large works fine, but define what those actually mean. Like small might be 2 to 4 weeks, 1 to 2 key roles, minimal dependencies. Medium could be 1 to 3 months, cross-functional team, some coordination needed. And large might be 3 or more months, multiple teams, and significant changes required. For each category, include rough estimates for engineering time, design time, product involvement, QA coverage. You're not estimating down to the hour. You're creating shared language for what this will actually take. And then step 2. Clarify the roles and responsibilities and dependencies. This is where the real work happens. For every initiative, explicitly identify who's the lead, and it's not the team, it's which actual person. Who's providing support? Who needs to review deliverables? What external dependencies could block progress? And write it down. Make it visible. The moment you start hand-waving about someone will handle that, you're building failure into the plan. It needs to be written down. Step 3. Capture known constraints. And here's where honesty becomes critical. Don't pretend that constraints don't exist. Document them and plan around them. For example, Sarah's on vacation in July. The back-end team is committed to infrastructure work through Q2. Legal reviews take 3 weeks minimum. The design system isn't ready until September. Include these in your green light process. If an initiative requires resources that aren't available when you need them, adjust the timeline or find alternatives before you commit. Step 4. Validate the scope with the delivery teams. This separates smart leaders from wishful thinkers. Before finalizing any plan, sit down with the actual people doing the work and ask, do we have what we need to succeed? Don't ask, can you make this work? That pressures them to say yes, regardless of reality. Ask specifically, given this scope and timeline, what's your confidence level? If they raise concerns, listen to them. Adjust before you kick off. Don't just wait until things go off the rails. And then step 5, document your assumptions and gaps. Make it crystal clear what you're betting on. For example, you might say this assumes DevOps availability mid-quarter, or success depends on hiring a senior engineer by month 2. When assumptions are invisible, they become blind spots. But when they're documented, they become manageable risks. Now, the real breakthrough happens when you stop treating scope as a bureaucratic overhead exercise and start treating it as insurance against failure. Every hour you spend properly scoping saves you weeks of confusion and rework later on. Every dependency you identify up front is one less surprise that can derail your timeline. Teams don't fail because they're incompetent. They fail because they're set up for failure from day one. Start with your next initiative. Work through these 5 steps. Size the effort properly. Validate with your team that they have what they need. When teams are scoped to succeed, they usually do.